Bring in Marwan Bishara, Aljazeera's senior political analyst. You're joining us from Doha. Marwan, it's great to talk to you. Look, we've laid it all out, right? Since the beginning of the show, we have heard from Benjamin Netanyahu. We've just heard from Hamas. We have shown the footage of the Palestinian prisoners being released, of the Israeli captives being released. There's a lot that's gone on today. What stands out to you about today so far?
Well, since you've done such a great job the past 20 minutes, I'm just going to do some random commentary about what I've heard and what I've seen today. Starting with the idea, the absurd idea that the Israelis are upset that the three captives have lost weight. Why do I say absurd? It's actually far more than absurd. It's far more than cynical. It is the ultimate chutzpah, as the Israelis like to refer to it. This man who is unhappy, Netanyahu, he is sought after by the International Criminal Court for weaponizing hunger in Gaza. He's accused for crimes against humanity, for instilling famine in Gaza, using hunger as a weapon of war. That man is complaining about the fact that the three Israelis held there lost weight, when countless Palestinians in Gaza have died of starvation, countless children have died of malnutrition, and he is the one who is responsible for all that. He's complaining that three men have lost weight. It's just beyond commentary, as it were. The other thing that really stood out is, and this has been going on now for 5 weeks, it's just the degree and the testimony of Palestinian captives in Israeli prisons, which I doubt it's going to be heard throughout, the Western world or the Israeli world, as it were, about how the Israeli prisons have long turned into torture chambers. These are torture chambers. Not a single Palestinians have apparently come out without having been tortured. And so many of them have lost this, that, and the other thing. Of course, we know that some of them have died in Israeli prisons. And worse, there are testimonies about rape cases in Israeli prisons. Rape. So here we are 15 months into it with some 10,000 extra prisoners in Israeli prison, and each and one of them complains about Israeli barbarity in Israeli prisons. While the Israeli Prime Minister complains about three men who lost weight because he imposed hunger on Gaza.
Marwan, based on what we've seen since the ceasefire began, do you think this deal can end the war?
Let me start by another random comment again, since your last guest actually have done a good job analyzing the Israeli mindset and the way things stand in Israel. But I do have something I think important to add to that, which is the following. I have been arguing now for a good number of months that Netanyahu keeps scaring the world and the United States and so on about his government falling and him having to do all these horrible things because otherwise the government's going to implode. That was total humbug. That was just never the correct. He was using it as pretext in order to continue with the war because he himself is a war criminal fascist and he has his personal career in stake. And then there is the idea that we've known also for the past good number of weeks, even months, that there are opposition parties today in parliament that are ready to come in and fill in when those other fanatics will leave the government, hence allowing the government to survive. Already, we have Gideon Saar, who became foreign minister of Israel. He came in, stepped in right before, I remember, or right after, I think right before, Ben Gvir, the fanatic fascist, stepped out of government. Now we know that Smotrich, the other fanatic, is threatening to leave government if we go into second phase and end of the war. And already we have Benny Gantz, who is standing by, already declared his willingness to join the Netanyahu government in order to ensure a majority. So the pretext of, no, I cannot go on with this second phase because my government implode, is utterly nonsensical. So the idea here is the following. Netanyahu does not really want a second phase. He never did. He wants to continue with the war. He's been telling that since day one. And there's the new element that's been added to it, which is Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump have given Netanyahu, it's like a cat. Now he's giving him his seventh life. Netanyahu has been reborn out of his visit to Washington because Trump has given him unconditional support. If we thought that Biden was a self-declared Zionist, I mean, Trump is self-declared hyper-Zionist because he's supported by a certain genocidal evangelical Christians who want Armageddon, who want all kinds of wars to continue. And hence Trump has been for the past 2 weeks making things worse than Biden has, and in the process supporting Netanyahu. That does not bode well for ending the war.
Marwan Bishara, Aljazeera senior political analyst. Thank you very much.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Aljazeera.